Hello, my name is Zach White, and I chose to present on the Saturn V Rocketdyne F-1 engine. Before diving into the engine itself, I thought it'd be useful to look at the overall history of the rocket. The Saturn V was a part of the Apollo program, which was formed in response to President Kennedy's call to put a man on the moon by the end of the 1960s. This led to a rapid expanse in the U.S. space program, which was, at the time, competing against the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Wernher von Braun, who was the chief architect of the Saturn V, pushed for a multi-stage design. The three expendable stages worked to lift the rocket into orbit, after which the remaining modules traveled to the moon. The first stage carried the rocket 42 miles and was powered by 5 Rocketdyne F-1 engines. The Saturn V was launched 13 times successfully within the span of 5 years, and each in today's dollars costed $1.16 billion. The engine itself was fueled by RP-1 with liquid oxygen as the oxidizer. The mixture ratio was 2.27 kilograms of O2 per kilogram of fuel. The nozzle expansion ratio, which is the exit area versus the throat area, was 16. The pressure in the combustion chamber was 70 bar, or 69 atmospheres. For reference, the V2 developed by the Germans during World War II operated at around 16 bar, and SpaceX's Raptor engine operates reliably at about 300 bar. The thrust produced by the F-1 is honestly unrivaled and still holds the record as the most powerful single-chamber, single-nozzle liquid fuel engine ever flown. In vacuum, it produced an insane 7.7 meganewtons, or 1.7 million pounds of thrust. The nozzle exit was 12 feet in diameter. The engine had an ISP in vacuum of about 305 seconds and 265 seconds at sea level. The velocity of the exhaust products reached 3,000 meters per second and traveled Mach 3.5. The temperature would have been around 1700 degrees Kelvin at exhaust. There are also several interesting facts about the development of the F-1. Combustion instability proved incredibly challenging to the U.S. space program as they began to build engines on such a large scale. Oscillations would perturbate at 4 kilohertz with harmonics up to 24 kilohertz during ignition and operation. This would effectively destabilize the engine and cause it to fail. To fix this, engineers actually detonated small charges in the chamber to disrupt the exhaust pattern, and they could measure the engine's ability to recover. In the final design, it was actually so stable it would self-dampen within 1/10 of a second. Some other interesting facts that I found were that the nozzle and chamber were regeneratively cooled to keep it from melting, and each second a single F-1 engine consumed about 3,900 pounds of liquid oxygen and 1,700 pounds of rocket propellant 1. The turbo pump, which was responsible for bringing the fuel oxidizer up to the chamber pressure and pumping it into the injector, was driven at 5,500 RPM, producing 55,000 horsepower. It also had to withstand temperatures of 1,500 to negative 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And what I found was very interesting was that it was cooled and lubricated with fuel. Lastly, I'd also like to just showcase a video of the engine during launch, which really highlights how incredible this technology was for the 60s, especially seeing the absolute force that this engine exerts on the boom arms and the launch pad in the video. And here are my sources. Thank you.